Which virtue can save you from the attacks of the devil? St. John Bosco's dream reveals the answer to this question. The Miracles and Prophecies of St. John Bosco, a project of America Needs Fatima. I'm your host, Matthew Miller. Subscribe for new episodes every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. During a spiritual retreat in 1876, Don Bosco related a dream rich in symbolism, one of the most instructive he ever had. Father Lemoyne took notes as he spoke, and immediately afterward wrote the dream out completely and showed it to Don Bosco, who made only slight changes. Don Bosco addressed the confreres of the Salesians in the following words. Just now I want to tell you about a dream that absorbed my mind, you might say, all through the retreat, and that especially last night upset me. I will tell it as I saw it, because I think it has many valuable lessons, but I'll condense it here and there so as not to be too lengthy. Well then, it seemed we were all together on our way from Lonzo to Turin, aboard some vehicles, either coaches or railway cars, but just which I'm not sure. At a certain point on our way, I can't recall where, our vehicles stopped. I got off to see what had happened, and faced a man who defies all description. He seemed to me both tall and short at the same time, stout and slim, red and white, walking on the ground and floating in the air. Totally confused and bewildered, I made bold to ask, "Who are you?" His only answer was, "Come with me." I first wanted to know who he was and what he wanted, but I had no time to find out. "Flurry," he said, "let's get the vehicles into this field." The astonishing thing was that he spoke loudly and softly at the same time and in different tones, so that my amazement knew no bounds. The field was very vast, and to all appearances quite flat, unplowed, and as smooth as a threshing floor. Not knowing what to say and seeing his great determination, we turned the vehicles around into that vast field, and once there we ordered everyone to get down. They all did so very quickly, and no sooner were all off than the vehicles immediately disappeared, leaving no trace whatsoever. Not knowing how to conduct myself with that stranger, I stammered, "Will you now tell us why you made us stop here?" "To save you from very great danger," he replied. "What danger?" "A raging bull which leaves not a living person in its path. A roaring bull seeking whom to devour." "Easy, my friend," I retorted. "You apply to a bull what St. Peter says of a lion, Leo rugiens, a roaring lion." "That doesn't matter in the least. There it was a roaring lion, here it is a roaring bull. What matters is that you had better be on your guard. Call all your followers about you and immediately and very seriously tell them to be on guard and very alert. As soon as they hear the roar of a bull, an unusual and thundering roar, they are immediately to fling themselves face down upon the ground and stay that way until the bull has passed. God help anyone who will not obey you. Whoever refuses to lie face down to the ground, as I have ordered, will be as good as dead. Holy Scripture tells us that the lowly shall be exalted, and the proud will be humbled." Then he immediately added, "Quickly, quickly, the bull is on its way. Shout as loud as you can to fall to the ground." I did so, and he insisted, "Louder, louder." I yelled so loudly that I'm sure I frightened Father Lemoyne, who sleeps next door to me. I was shouting at the top of my voice. In an instant, the bellow of a bull was heard, and the man told me, on guard, make them all lie next to one another in 2 straight rows, with an aisle for the bull to pass between them." I shouted out his orders. In a flash, everyone lay flat on the ground, and we could see the bull far off, thundering forward in a fury. Although just about everyone lay flat on his face, a few remained standing in order to have a good look at the bull. "Now you will see what happens to them," the man told me. "You will see what they get for refusing to lie low." I wanted to warn them again, to shout, and to run to them, but he forbade me. I insisted that he let me go to them, but he answered sharply, "Obedience applies to you too. Lie down." Before I could get down, I heard a thundering bellow, awesome and frightening. The bull drew closer. Terror seized all, and they kept asking, "Who knows? Who knows?" "Don't fear," I shouted. "Stay down." And my friend kept yelling, "He who humbles himself shall be exalted, and he who exalts himself shall be humbled. He who humbles himself," etc., etc. I found one thing strange and astonishing. Pressed flat to the ground as I was, face to the earth and eyes in the dust, I could still clearly see everything happening about me. The bull had 7 horns set almost in a circle, 2 below the snout, 2 in the place of eyes, 2 in a normal position, and 1 on the crest. Even more amazing was the fact that the horns were very tough, but mobile, and the bull kept turning them as he wished, so that to gore and fling his victim to the ground, he didn't have to turn from side to side. He kept running forward without a turn, knocking down anyone he encountered. The horns below the snout were the longest, and they wrought frightful havoc. The bull was now upon us. The man shouted, "Now you will see the power of humility." Instantaneously, to our astonishment, we found ourselves lifted high into the air, so that the bull couldn't possibly reach us. Those few who had refused to lie flat on the ground were not raised up. The bull rushed them, and in a flash tore them to pieces. Not a single one was spared. Meanwhile, hanging in the air, we were scared stiff at the thought of what our fate would be if we fell to the ground. We could see the angry bull straining toward us and leaping high to sink his horns into us, but he couldn't do us the least bit of harm. More furious than ever, he rent the air with a frightful roar, as if to tell us he was leaving to seek reinforcements. And so, in great wrath, he stormed off. Then we instantly found ourselves again on the ground. "Face the south," the man shouted. We did so, and suddenly, to our amazement, everything changed around us. To the south we saw the Blessed Sacrament exposed, and many candles burning on either side. The field was gone, and we seemed to be in a very vast church, all beautifully decorated. While we were all kneeling in adoration before the Blessed Sacrament, a host of most horrid, roaring bulls appeared, their heads bristling with horns. They came close to us, but since we were in adoration before the Blessed Sacrament, reciting the chaplet in honor of the Sacred Heart of Jesus, they could do us no harm. After a while, I don't know how, we turned around and saw that the bulls had left. Looking back to the altar, we saw that the candles had disappeared, the Blessed Sacrament was no longer in sight, and the church itself had vanished from sight, and we found ourselves back in the field where we had been before. You know well enough that the bull symbolizes the devil, our spiritual enemy, who in rage against us continually tries to harm us. The 7 horns are the 7 capital sins. We can be rescued from the horns of this bull, that is, from the devil's assaults, and not fall into those sins mainly by humility, the bedrock of virtue. St. John Bosco's dream continues with many other lessons, but I'll be covering the rest of them next Wednesday, so be sure to subscribe and come back then. God bless you, and Our Lady keep you.